Hello, welcome all. Today we will discuss the topic hypertension. What is known as a hypertension? Hypertension is a long-term medical condition in which the BP in the arteries is persistently elevated. Suppose this is our blood vessel in which the blood is flowing. Blood will exert the lateral pressure on the arteries wall. This is known as a blood pressure. The wall of the arteries is correlate with the amount of the amount of a serum sodium present in our body. So here are some terms that is pre-hypertension, stage 1 and stage 2 of the hypertension. So let's get started, discuss one by one. So first one is pre-hypertension. So here one more point is that the normal BP of a human being is 120 mmHg, that is systolic blood pressure, and 80 mmHg, that is diastolic blood pressure. This is a normal BP of a human being. So what happened in the pre-hypertension stage? In the pre-hypertension stage, the systolic BP is around 120 to 139 mmHg, and the diastolic BP is 80 to 89 mmHg. Then after the pre-hypertension, then comes the stage 1. In this, the systolic BP is around 140 to 159, and diastolic is around 90 to 99. Then after the stage 1, then stage 2 will come. In this, the BP is more than or equal to 160 mmHg, that is systolic BP, and the diastolic BP is more than or equal to the 100 mmHg. So these are the three conditions, that pre-hypertension, hypertension stage 1 and hypertension stage 2. All the medications are given according to these stages. So next is the pathophysiology of the hypertension. So what happens? There is a overactivation. We can say that overactivation of a sympathetic nervous system, or a renal system, or vascular endothelial system, or a endocrine system. So after the pathophysiology, here comes the management. We have two types of management. First one is we can do the lifestyle modification, and the second one is we can approach the pharmacological therapies. So in the lifestyle modification, we suggest to patient that they can reduce their weight, they can do exercise, or they can manage their stress if they have any kind of a stress, or they can reduce the amount of a sodium intake in their diet. So after the lifestyle modifications, next approach we follow is pharmacological therapy approach. So here comes the pharmacological therapy. In this, we use drugs like, first one is diuretics, then we use vasodilators, then sympathetic system blockers, then renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system blockers. So let's get started with the drugs one by one. First one is diuretics. So in this we use generally thiazide diuretics, because these drugs are the long acting drugs. But we have the loop diuretics also, but the loop diuretics is the short acting drug. So these drugs are mainly used in the congestive heart failure purpose, used in the management of the CHF. So the mechanism of action of thiazides is that it will inhibit the sodium chloride synporter in the distal convoluted tubule, and the mechanism of action of loop diuretics is it will inhibit the sodium potassium 2 chloride co-transporter in the thick ascending loop of Henle. So remember, here is the most important point for the loop and as well as the loop diuretics and as well as the thiazide diuretics, that the thiazide diuretics are the long acting drugs, so it is used in the management of hypertension, and the loop diuretics are the short acting drugs, so it is used in the management of the congestive heart failure. These 2 points are very important point. However, the loop diuretics are also used in the management of hypertension, but mainly it is used in the management of the congestive heart failure. So drug in this category include in thiazide category include chlorothiazide and hydrochlorothiazide, and in the loop diuretic drug include furosemide, bumetamide, and torsia. mild. So these are the common side effect of the thiazides and the loop diuretics, that it will cause the hyponatremia, hypomagnesemia, hypokalemia, and it will increase the amount of uric acid in the body. So you have to remember that the thiazides will retain the calcium in the body, whereas loop diuretic loses the calcium in the body. So loop diuretic causes the hypocalcemia and the thiazides causes the hypercalcemia. Remember, thiazides will retain the calcium in the body, whereas loop diuretics will lose the calcium in the body, and the thiazides will retain the calcium in the body. So these are the common side effect of the thiazides and the loop diuretics. Only one exception there is the calcium. Loop diuretics loses the calcium, and the thiazide diuretics increase the amount of the calcium in the body. They will retain the calcium in the body. So these are the uses of the thiazides diuretics. So it is used in the management of hypertension, or it is used in the management of edema associated with chronic kidney disease or a nephrotic syndrome, and it is also used in the nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, or thiazide is also used in the kidney stone caused by the calcium. Next is uses of loop diuretics. It is used in the acute pulmonary edema, or it is also used in the edema associated with CKD, that is chronic kidney disease and the nephrotic syndrome. And it is also used in the management of hypertension, but mainly it is used in the management of the CHF because it is a shorter acting drug. So this is about the diuretics. So second drug for the treatment of the hypertension is vasodilators. So in this category, first one is NO, that is nitric oxide releaser. So in this first drug is nitroprusside. So the mechanism of action of nitroprusside is it will release NO. This NO will increase the cyclic GMP and then cause the vasodilation. So there will be decrease in the BP. So this drug is mainly used for the hypertensive emergency. The meaning of hypertensive emergency is when the systolic blood pressure is more than or equals to 180 mm Hg, and the diastolic blood pressure is more than or equals to 120 mm Hg. So it is a only short term use drug. It is given by a IV route, or the side effect of this drug is it causes the hypotension, or it causes the cyanide intoxication. So this is about the NO releaser, that is sodium nitroprusside, which cause the vasodilation by the release of NO. So next vasodilator is potassium channel openers. In this we have two drugs. First one is hydralazine. Second one is minoxidil. So hydralazine, here one important point is hydralazine has also NO releasing property, so it also causes the vasodilation. The mechanism of action of both drug, it will open the potassium channel and cause the vasodilation. So hydralazine, this drug will used in the hypertension management and the CHF in African Americans. It is in Africa, it is generally available with fixed dose combination with isosorbide dinitrate. And minoxidil, it is also a potassium channel opener. It will use for the management of hypertension and alopecia. The side effect of this drug, it will cause the hypertrichosis, and the side effect of the hydralazine, it will cause headache, nausea, and hypotension. So this is about the second vasodilator, that is potassium channel openers. It will include hydralazine and the minoxidil. Then talking about the third drug, that is sympathetic system blockers. So we know sympathetic system is derived from the tyrosine, then tyrosine will convert into dopa, and then dopa will convert into dopamine, and then dopamine into non-adrenaline, and non-adrenaline into adrenaline. Then adrenaline will came in the synapse, and then they will act on the alpha or the beta receptors. So for the management of the hypertension, we have to block this process. By blocking this process, we can manage the hypertension. So first one is ganglion blocker. We know that the on the ganglion blocker, the NM receptors will present. So we have to block the NM receptors. In this, the drug, we have two drugs. One is trimethopam, or second one is hexamethonium. So this both drug will block the NM receptors, and this both drug is a drug of choice for the nicotine poisoning. The side effect of both this drug is, first one is urine retention and second one is dry mouth. So both drug trimethopam or hexamethonium is a ganglionic blocker, that is an NN receptor blocker. So second, what we have to do, we have to block the neurotransmitter, so that neurotransmitter will not act on the receptors. So there is one receptor, that is alpha 2 receptor, which is present presynaptically. What will this do? They will reuptake the neurotransmitter into the vesicles. So we have two drugs like clonidine and methyl-dopa, which is alpha 2 agonist. Clonidine and methyl-dopa, the side effect of this drug, it will cause the rebound hypertension. In the management of hypertension, if we stop this drug, then it will again cause the rebound hypertension. So then after the alpha agonist, we have alpha 1 blockers. So we have to block this receptor, so that if neurotransmitter will came here, then it will not bind here. So we have to block this receptor. We have drug like prazosin, doxazosine, sildosin, and so on. So this drug are also used with the patient having a hypertension with BPH, that is benign prostate hyperplasia. The side effect of this drug this drug will cause the posterior hypertension. So alpha 1 blocker causes the posterior hypotension. So next drug is alpha 1 and the beta blockers. So in this category we have carvedilol and labetalol. This both drug has alpha and beta receptor blocking activity. So this drug are useful in treatment of hypertension and heart failure. Mainly carvedilol is used for the management of the heart failure. So beta blocker is a choice in patient with a pulmonary artery disease, and labetalol is a first choice of a drug for the treatment of hypertension in the hypertension for a pregnant woman. Next is beta 1 selective drug. In this category, we have bisoprolol, carvedilol, or metoprolol. So basically, if beta 1 receptor get blocked, so there will be decrease in the cardiac output, as well as there will be a decrease in the renin. If there is no renin, then there will no aldosterone formation. Then there will be a no retention of the sodium and the water, and there will be a no hypertension. So these drugs are used in the management of hypertension or the heart failure. The side effect of this drug include bradycardia, AV block, or worsening of acute heart failure. We will do this alpha and beta blocker more elaborately in when we talk about the sympathetic nervous system. So next is RAS system, that is renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. So whenever the beta receptors get stimulated, which is present on the Golgi cells of the kidney, when it gets stimulated, there is a release of a renin. Then this renin will convert the angiotensinogen to the angiotensin 1. Then angiotensin 1 will convert into angiotensin 2 with the help of ACE, that is angiotensin converting enzyme. So after the angiotensin 2 will convert, then they will act on the angiotensin 1 receptors. Then there will be vasoconstriction occurs. Then there will be aldosterone. The function of the aldosterone, they will do the salt water retention and cause the left ventricular hypertrophy. So these are the pathway which get stimulated by the activation of the renin. This renin are come from the JG cell of the kidney by the stimulation of the beta cell. So these are the various drugs like aliskirin which inhibit the formation of the renin, like enalapril, it will inhibit the ACE. And then we have losartan drug, it will inhibit the AT1, that is angiotensin 1 receptors. And we have aldosterone inhibitor like spironolactone. So let's get started with drugs one by one. So we have ACE inhibitors. We have many drugs in ACE inhibitor like captopril, enalapril, lisinopril, and ramipril, and so on. Except enalapril and lisinopril, all other drugs, all other ACE inhibitors are the pro drug, except in enalapril and the lisinopril are the active drug. These two are the active only. These two only are the active drug. Rest all of them are the pro drug. This captopril is the shortest acting ACE inhibitor, and the prindopril is the longest acting ACE inhibitor. So all these drug which is a pro drug will convert pril into prilate, means for example captopril will convert into the captoprilate, which is an active form of this drug. So these are the uses of this drug. Like this drug are used in the management of hypertension, heart failure, and diabetic nephropathy. The side effect of this drug, it will cause the cough, it will cause cough, angioedema, hypotension, and hyperkalemia. And this ACE inhibitors are contraindicated in the pregnancy and the renal artery stenosis. So this is about the ACE inhibitor. Here the important point you have to remember that enalapril and lisinopril are the active drug. Rest other ACE inhibitors are the prodrug which will convert pril into prilate. And captopril is the shortest acting drug, and the prindopril is the longest acting drug. So next is we have angiotensin receptor blocker, that is AT1 receptors blocker. So in this we have candesartan, losartan, and telmisartan like drug. So yeah, so the uses of this drug are same as that of ACE inhibitor. This drug are used for management of hypertension, heart failure, and the diabetic nephropathy. So the side effect of this drug is less. It will cause cough and angioedema, no doubt, but it will cause the less angioedema and less cough as compared to the ACE inhibitors. As compared to the ACE inhibitors, this drug will cause the less cough and the angioedema. Two drugs have additional properties like telmisartan. Telmisartan drug, this drug will reverse the insulin resistance. And losartan is a prodrug which is converted into an active metabolite, and it has additional property that it has antiplatelet action, and it will also suppress the gout. So this is all about the RAS system, that is renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. In the hypertension, we also use the calcium channel blockers, which I already explained the angina video. So you can refer the angina video for the calcium channel blockers. So thank you. That's it for the hypertension. You can read more, and you can refer Goodman and Gilman for the more knowledge. Thank you. One more important point is this drug spironolactone we will discuss when we will do the diuretics. So that's it for the hypertension.